you just saw is a table moved by an invisible force, a completely natural force, I assure you. But your life in a similar fashion is moved by a host of invisible forces. Your beliefs, your assumptions, your biases, your defense mechanisms. But at the top of that list, I would have to place your motives. It is why you go to work in the morning. There are very few things in life so sad as going through the motions of doing your job with no higher purpose in mind. But that is what hundreds of millions of people do every single day of their working lives. They go off to their workplace and they check off all of the demands required in their job description and then go home with no higher goal in mind than just growing old and paying the bills. But you dare not and you need not allow that to happen to you. I hope that you figured out by now that when you work for the school system, you don't have the luxury or the drudgery, for that matter, of going to work as cavalierly as an accountant at Microsoft or an engineer at Motorola or a busboy at Applebee's might. This cannot be just a job for you. It's too important for that. This should not even be merely a career for you. It's too critical even for that. This is a calling. This is a life mission. This should grow for you into a magnificent obsession, one that is completely worthy of the investment of this, your one and only life. You should come to work every single day with all of the zeal of a Baptist evangelist saving souls, or Mother Teresa going to the ghetto of Calcutta to rescue the orphans and the lepers, or a lifeguard paddling out to save a drowning swimmer. You should come to work each and every day because you believe in the magic of the cause. A cause that is driven by the knowledge that if you can just nudge the trajectory of a kid's life by 4 or 5 degrees, and I know you can, that slight change in direction might over the course of 7 decades widen into a gap of 1,000 miles. You're going to need to get on the ball with regard to your motives. Let me ask you a question. Why do you go to work in the morning? I hope it's not for a paycheck. Let me tell you something. To work for a paycheck in any profession, even if you're just selling aluminum siding or if you're driving jumbo jets or doing heart surgery, but especially in educating kids, is to needlessly sentence yourself to a life of emptiness and mediocrity. The people in this world who achieve great things and who love the journey are not people who work for a paycheck. They are people who become obsessed with achieving something big, something great, something wonderful. And they view their paycheck as just the way that they cover their bills along the way while they pour their lives into a noble cause. I'm not here today to earn a paycheck. I'm really not. I'm here because I really believe that my mission in life is to improve people's lives. My goal is to not only help you improve your life, but maybe gives you some tips, some technology, some ideas that will enable you to improve the students' lives and brighten their own futures. Maybe I can provide for you an inspirational spark that will come in handy when you have a really bad day. It's all about how you frame it in your mind. Don't get me wrong, I need the paycheck, and I am deeply grateful for it. I've got bills too, but I just make sure that I never do it for that. It's all framing. Before I walk out on the stage, I flip a switch. The farthest thing from my mind is earning a paycheck when I'm working. The most important thing is making a difference in the lives of people. That's my mission. Do you understand the difference? It's okay to get the paycheck. I want you to get your paycheck. I want you to earn big paychecks, but just not to do it for that. I'm here to join you today on a noble mission, even if just for an hour or so. And in fact, if you buy any of my books or products out there on the table, I'll just let you know, every dollar that I earn goes immediately into a fund to help a deserving kid go to college. Mine. Please buy my books. Do you have any idea how many hundreds of millions of people in this world have to volunteer their time after work or on weekends to gain just a fraction of the personal fulfillment that you can enjoy working full-time and drawing a salary for it? That is a wonderful perk. How many people in this world can say that? Doctors, social workers, preachers. It's a very small club. Just because it's not tangible doesn't mean that it's not real. I know you can't pay the bills with it, and that's a real shame, but that doesn't mean it doesn't have great value. Don't stick your nose in the air like a sophisticated student and just dismiss that as meaningless. That is a real perk, as real as your health care, as real as your pension. That has great value. You should thrill to that. Let me ask you a question. Is there a fire burning in your belly to transform the lives of the students? Now, because I'm magic, I can read your mind. There are 63 people in the room right now thinking, catch a clue, we're not all teachers. I know that, and it changes my point not one whit. Regardless of your job description, even if you're mowing the lawns or painting stripes on the football field, you should do it because you believe in the dream, because you are an integral, an indispensable part of the team that makes a difference in the lives of the kids. If you're driving a bus, you're not just driving a bus. You're taking your kids from home to school. And when they get there, that's the only way they can learn. And you custodians, if you don't keep the air conditioner on, they're not going to be able to concentrate. And you cafeteria workers, if you don't feed them, they won't hear the teacher over the growling of their own stomachs. And so I ask you again, is there a fire burning in your belly to transform the lives of the students? Does it burn so brightly that it keeps you awake nights? And when you finally fall asleep, do you find yourself dreaming about it? And when you wake up the next morning, is it one of the first thoughts on your mind? And as you go through your workday, do you find yourself scheming and dreaming about ways to do it better? If you don't have that type of a passion, you will never know the personal fulfillment in life that is your absolute birthright as an employee of the school system. And you will never be as effective as you could otherwise be because you'll never give the students a disease that you do not already have. Let me encourage you never to become so jaded, so preoccupied with budgets and facilities and government regulations and testing that you forget why you do what you do. Would you permit me to offer humbly a little piece of advice? And even if you forget everything else I say and do here today, that you will try to make this a reality in your life. Here it is. Avoid and resist cynicism. It is a black hole. And if you allow yourself to wander within its gravitational field, it will suck the life out of your soul, the light out of your eyes, the joy from your heart, and the marrow from your bones. The bright, beautiful, bubbly person you used to be will disappear forever. A woman came up to me, shuffling, shoulders slumped, her head bowed, like she'd lost her last friend. She introduced herself and told me that she was in special ed. And those of you in special ed, there should be a special place in heaven for you. In fact, if heaven has a first-class cabin, you should be permanently upgraded. I worship the ground you guys walk on. But she thanked me for my presentation, and she said, I'm sort of, kind of, somewhat, mildly inspired. I said, wow, that's not a very ringing endorsement of my presentation. I thought she was putting me down. She said, no, that's good. I never thought I'd ever feel this way again. I think that I can go back to work now. Now, folks, if that's as far as I can get you today, I'll take that. But I hope I can pull you a lot further. Will you allow me to at least try to take you on a journey back to the days when you were enthusiastic, back to the days when you were idealistic, back to the days when you got into this because you really believed you could make a difference in the lives of the kids? Will you do that in good faith with me? There was once a monk who was overseeing a church building project. He went out to the construction site to see how progress was coming along, and while there he saw 4 men chipping stones. He asked the first, my son, what are you doing? The man scowled. He said, Father, I'm chipping stones. He turned to the second. He said, my son, what are you doing? The man matter-of-factly said, Father, I'm constructing a wall. He walked over to the third. He said, my son, what are you doing? The man smiled. He said, Father, I'm building a cathedral. He walked over to the fourth. He said, my son, what are you doing? The man's face lit up and he positively beamed as he said, Father, I'm advancing the kingdom of God on earth, 1 stone at a time. Here are 4 men doing exactly the same job, but with a totally different passion level, certainly a different job satisfaction level. I believe that it is your solemn duty as an employee of the school system to ruthlessly discipline yourself every day that you come to work to give that 4th level of an answer. I wonder if 6 months from now I were to walk up to one of you teachers in disguise and just casually ask you what you're doing, what would you say? I'm making out one more homework assignment for the students to completely disregard. Are you cafeteria workers? What would you say? I'm making the same freaking green beans. In the same freaking pot. On the same freaking stove. that I'd been slaving over for 25 freaking years. And that's longer than freaking has even been a word. You bus drivers, what would you say? I'm driving the same rattle-trap bus down the same bumpy roads I've been driving for 15 years. Or would all of you, regardless of your job description, be able to step back, climb the mountain, and look down from a broader perspective and answer like that fourth man did? And say, I'm making sure the kids of Jessamine County one day go to college instead of jail. That they live in houses instead of under bridges. That they drive reliable cars instead of death traps. That they have careers instead of jobs. That they grow up with pride and self-esteem instead of shame their whole lives. Come to think of it, I'm probably making sure that their kids and their grandkids follow suit. I'm transforming the world, one ignored homework assignment, one pot of green beans, one bumpy bus route, one pretty swirl on the gym floor at a time. Never allow yourself to forget why you come to work in the morning.